the heart of Sambhal, Uttar Pradesh, stands two iconic monuments. The majestic Jama Masjid, a testament to an architectural splendor of Delhi Sultanate, and the ancient Harihar temple, believed to be a sacred site dedicated to Lord Vishnu. Together, they form the backbone of city's heritage. But today, they're at the center of a growing storm. A storm that threatens to unearth not just history, but also deeply held beliefs. The controversy revolves around a question. Was the Jama Masjid built on the ruins of Harihar temple? Some believe it was, sparking demands for an investigation to uncover the truth. But standing in the way is the Places of Worship Act 1991, a law introduced by the Congress government to maintain the religious character of all worship sites as they stood on August 15, 1947. The Places of Worship Act 1991, intended to prevent communal unrest, has become a focal point of political and religious tensions. While the Congress party which enacted the law defends it as a safeguard against the sectarian violence, critics accuses it of appeasing minorities and suppressing historical truth at the expense of Hindu sentiments. The BJP, on the other hand, frames itself as a champion of Hindu revivalism, using disputes like the one in Sambhal to push the narrative of reclaiming India's heritage and strengthening its political base among Hindu voters. But this is not just a question of political battle. It is a clash of identities, Hindu and Muslim, temple and mosque. As the debate rages, Sambhal's monuments stand in silence, watching as faith, history and politics collide. What will prevail? Truth, peace or power? And here lies the dilemma. Is preserving peace worth suppressing history, or is unearthing the truth necessary no matter the cost?
It's a completely avoidable controversy. According to the government rules, any survey of any public place can be carried out only from 10 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening. In this case, the survey team came after 5:30. The police was there. The police acted in a neutral, non-partisan manner. Everything went off smoothly. There was no hard burning, no violence, nothing. How come on November 24th, 5 days later, another survey started? This time without any civil judge's subsequent order. And then there came Mr. Jain himself to the mosque, one of the petitioners, and he was followed by some people chanting slogans of Jai Shri Ram. And the ASI very clearly mentions it only as a mosque, does not say that it was built after destroying a temple or even with the material procured after destruction of a temple in the vicinity. It's only now, out of completely political motives, that these things are being dug up to basically keep the attention away of the masses from inflation, rising unemployment, and all the alleged corruption cases of Adani. The actual issues of the day get sidestepped while people talk only in terms of a masjid and a mandir. It's easier to excite somebody who doesn't have a regular job, a person who has to go to his university to study or to go to his office at 9:30 in the morning. He will not have time to scroll down the WhatsApp for 12 hours a day, and even if he just sees the WhatsApp, he will not come out on the streets and indulge in violence. No minister's son will be a dharm yodha or a warrior for his religion. They will be studying in the US or the UK or having cushy jobs abroad. If we have the UP Chief Minister drawing a parallel between Sambhal and the attacks on the minorities in Bangladesh, isn't it stretching things too far? It has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with politics. Are we really acting as a mature democracy? We have grown up in an India where, first of all, the Muslim will give the prayer call in the morning. After hearing his prayer call, the priest or the Pandit will open the temple and ring the temple bell. After that, the Gurdwara will start with its own part. That is the kind of India we have to revive once more. We live in a country where a Muslim director, K. Asif, made a film on a Muslim emperor. But even that film, Mughal-e-Azam, could not be completed without a Christian bhajan. We live in the country of Beju Bawra, where we had a timeless bhajan, Man Tarpat Hari Darshan Ko Aaj. And that bhajan was sung by Muhammad Rafi. Music was provided by Naushad, and it was written by Shakil Badayuni. That is the beauty of our country, and that is the beauty which you and I and everybody who believes in the idea of India has to uphold and hold dear to our heart.
Hello and welcome to The Quest. Hi, this is your host Simran Kundalia. Today we are honored to host a distinguished guest whose journalism, writing and social commentary have profoundly impacted Indian society and politics. Joining us today is Ziya-us-Salam, a senior journalist with The Hindu, an exceptional author and a brilliant wordsmith. His book, Being Muslim in Hindu India, not only sheds light on contemporary condition of the Muslim community, but also delves deep into the broader fabric of Indian society. Ziya-us-Salam's work compels us to reflect on an intricate interplay between religion, politics, and society. In today's discussion, we will explore a topic that has garnered much debate in present day India: communalism, historical disputes, and the societal implications. Specifically, we will delve into the controversy surrounding the Sambhal Jama Masjid, examining its political, social, and historical dimensions. Welcome, sir, to our platform. It's an absolute privilege to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, let me start with the first question. Sir, could you shed light on the historical significance of Sambhal Jama Masjid and how does it compare with other Mughal era of monuments like Babri Masjid, and how do you view this ongoing controversy surrounding it?
See, first and foremost, it's a completely avoidable controversy. As for the historicity of the mosque, it was built in the 16th century by Babur's general, Hindu Bey Kinsin, just like Babri Masjid was also built by Mir Baqi. During 5 years' time of Zahiruddin Babur's reign as the founder of the Mughal Empire, he built three mosques, one in Ayodhya, which is now given way to Ram Janambhoomi Temple, the second one in Sambhal, and the third one in Panipat. The Sambhal Mosque is arguably the third ancient mosque of North India.
Okay.
After Qubbatul Islam in Delhi and Adhai Din Ka Jhopla in Ajmer, this is the oldest mosque in the country.
Okay.
As for the about this controversy, this is a completely hedged, politically motivated campaign, nothing else. For ages, Sambhal has been a picture of communal harmony. Muslims have gone to their mosques, Hindus have gone to their temples. There has been social interaction between the communities. There has been economic interaction between the communities. And at no time did one hear since 1947 to 2024 about any controversy that the Sambhal Jama Masjid was built atop a Hari Har Mandir. This has come about only now, and partly because of one observation by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud on May 20th, 2022, while hearing the Gyanvapi petition. He said in an oral observation, important thing is it was not an order. It was just an oral observation of the justice, wherein he said the ascertainment of the religious character of a monument or a place of worship is not prohibited by Section 3 of the Places of Worship Act 1991. But what is important is what the Supreme Court has already said about the Places of Worship Act 1991. I'll take you back to 2019 November when the court came up with the Ayodhya judgment. As part of the judgment, the court said that the Act of 1991 is sacrosanct. It is like part of the basic structure of the Constitution, that is secularism, and it cannot be trifled with. The only exception was for Babri Masjid, because as it is at that time, litigation was going on when this act was enacted, and very clearly Babri Masjid, Ram Janam Bhoomi, was exempted from the provisions of the Places of Worship Act. There was no such exemption for any other mosque, any temple, any Buddhist vihara, Sikh Gurdwara or church or whatever the case may be. The provisions of the Act clearly state that whatever the condition of a particular place of mosque at the time of our independence on 15th August 1947, that condition cannot be altered. Not, not just that a temple cannot become a mosque or a mosque cannot become a temple, but even within the same community, the same religion, the particular place of worship cannot pass on to another sect. It is that clear. With that kind of clarity about the act, I find it quite ironical that the civil judge in the Sambhal case not only admitted the petition but also went on to have an ex parte discussion about it and passed an order on the same day. And if you notice, the petition was moved just before lunch. After lunch, there was an ex parte hearing where no summons were issued to the Muslim side, to the Intizamiya committee of the masjid, to present their viewpoint on the subject, to send in their advocate. Only the six petitioners from the Hindu side were there, including Harishankar Jain and a local Mahant. They presented their case. The Muslim side was not given an opportunity to have their say, and by 4:30, the judge had given his decision that a survey has to be carried out of the mosque. And within an hour, around 5:30, the survey team was at the mosque in the presence of the SP and the district magistrate. Now, this kind of hurried judgments, not judgment, but hurried verdict, so to say, and the presence of the police and the DM all within 1 hour makes one question the motives behind it. Clearly, there was much more than just a survey on the mind of the people who had petitioned the civil judge, and the civil judge, in his wisdom, did not even send a summons to the Muslim side to put forward their perspective and came up with the order for survey. And the survey was also carried out the same evening after 5:30, though I must tell you here, according to the government rules, any survey of any public place can be carried out only from 10 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening. In this case, the survey team came after 5:30. Still, the Intizamiya committee cooperated with it, and the survey was carried out peacefully. The police was there. The police acted in a neutral, non-partisan manner. Everything went off smoothly. There was no hard burning, no violence, nothing. And the survey was completed in a couple of hours. Everybody went back home happy. How come this was on 19th November? How come on November 24th, 5 days later, another survey started? This time without any civil judge's subsequent order. And this time it started at dawn, immediately after the Fajr prayer, which is the dawn prayer performed around 6:30 in the morning these days. It started at that time, much before the 10 o'clock time. And it also carried on smoothly for some time. And then there came Mr. Jain himself to the mosque, one of the petitioners, and he was followed by some people chanting slogans of Jai Shri Ram. Now, who allowed these people to come to the mosque at the time of the survey? That has to be found out. What was the role of the police when the policemen were kind of providing security to these people who were chanting slogans rather than asking them to keep away from the mosque? That has to be found out. Only then will we come to the truth of the survey.
That's a very important insight over there. So, my next question to you would be based on what you said earlier. So, from a historical standpoint, how credible is the claim that Sambhal Jama Masjid was built on demolishing an Hindu temple? And are there substantial pieces of evidence or historical records to support this? Or are we reigniting the dormant conflict unnecessarily?
See, if you go by the Muslim perspective, it is simply a mosque.
Okay.
And the Hindus have never questioned it
Hmm.
until this fortnight ago. But I would not go by the Muslim perspective. I would not go by the Hindu petitioners either. I'll go by what the Archaeological Survey of India says.
Hmm. Right.
Archaeological Survey of India clearly mentions this as a mosque built in 1528, 1529.
Hmm.
After that, what is left to be argued? It clearly mentions that it was built by one of the generals of Babur, known as Hindu Beg Kinson. He built it, and con- in contrast to later day Mughal monuments, which are made in red sandstone,
Hmm.
this was not built in red sandstone, largely because the mosque is located on a hill, on a plinth today, so to say, and it has single dome with with a few niches in the front and nothing else as far as embellishment is concerned, which is a bit different from the latter day Mughal mosque of Shah Jahan's time or Aurangzeb's time. So we have to go by what the ASI says rather than what either of the two parties claims in the court.
Hmm.
And the ASI very clearly mentions it only as a mosque, does not say that it was built after destroying a temple or even with the material procured after destruction of a temple in the vicinity.
Right. Moving on to the next question. The Place of Worship Act of 1991 mandates that the status of the religion site must remain unchanged. How does this law influences the current dispute?
See, the very fact that this law was enacted was with the idea of maintaining peace and harmony in the country,
Right.
that there should not be any communal clashes
Right.
over any place of worship
Hmm.
subsequently.
Hmm.
And I would like to ask all the petitioners who have gone to court in recent last couple of years or so, whether it is Gyanvapi or Mathura
Hmm.
or Badaयूं or Sambhal or Ajmer or Dhar, why didn't they go to court before 1991
Hmm.
about it? And like in the case of Sambhal or Ajmer, why didn't they go to court before the Act of 1991 was enacted? And then even after the Act was enacted, what about the Sambhal Mosque post 1991?
Hmm.
Nobody questioned its status even after the Act was enacted. Places of Worship Act is only now, out of completely political motives, that these things are being dug up to basically keep the attention away of the masses from inflation, rising unemployment, and all the alleged corruption cases of Adani.
Hmm.
This suits the government to do its polarization politics at a time and keep the attention away from Mr. Gautam Adani and whatever allegations have been made against him in the US court, and also the rising unemployment within our country and inflation. So the actual issues of the day get sidestepped while people talk only in terms of a masjid and a mandir.
Hmm. Right. So, adding to this, my question would be why it is that leaders and their families never directly participate in communal rights, and why it is always the poor and the marginalized who suffer. Should we connect these incidents to a broader issue like poverty and unemployment, like you already said?
Create a person
Yeah.
who is unemployed,
Hmm.
who could be a graduate or 12th pass or even
Right.
postgraduate or whatever.
Right.
He has no source of earning,
Hmm.
nothing to keep him occupied throughout the day.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So you, all that he does is to scroll down his screen on the mobile phone and keep watching WhatsApp and feed him not just history, another version of history, but basically fabrication of history
Right.
through those videos so that he gets agitated.
Hmm.
It's easier to excite somebody who doesn't have a regular job. A person who has to go to his university to study or to go to his office at 9:30 in the morning, he will not have time to scroll down the WhatsApp for 12 hours a day. And even if he just sees the WhatsApp, he will not come out on the streets and indulge in violence.
Hmm.
It's easier to excite somebody who doesn't have much to do And then obviously we have seen in the past that youngsters are also paid money to come to come and attend political rallies and marches, etc. And you get 500 rupees, 1000 rupees to show up, and you feel okay, I've earned something today. And at the time, and from the aspect of religion, they are presented as dharm yodhas.
Hmm.
As you rightly said, no minister's son will be a dharm yodha or
Right.
a warrior for his religion. They
Hmm.
will be studying in the US or the UK or having cushy jobs abroad. Is the unemployed youth who is used for these things. And
Hmm.
I have a feeling that the government doesn't deliberately tackle the issue of unemployment in the country so that such youth are used for violence in cases of Sambhal or wherever else.
Hmm. Right. My next question to you is that what role do local leaders and influential community figures play in mitigating or escalating such dispute, and are they fulfilling their responsibility ethically?
See, it's not a question of local leaders, the community leaders, that is,
Hmm.
of both the sides, they play their part in bringing about peace.
Okay.
Because after all, it's the common people of both religions who are staying at that particular place, they stand to lose.
Hmm.
If there is violence in the township, there are shops which stay closed for days on end. This kids cannot go to school maybe for a day or two, or
Hmm.
even if they go to school, the parents are worried about their safety.
Right.
And people are in general scared of going out to shop, even if some of the shops do open. So life comes to a virtual standstill. Under
Hmm.
the circumstances, the community leaders, be they Hindus or Muslims, they try their level best to bring about peace, and
Hmm.
they have those peace committees to make sure that no untoward incident takes place.
Hmm.
Where the problem arises is when the politicians step in. And for that, they don't even need to go to someone.
Hmm.
If we have the UP Chief Minister drawing a parallel between Sambhal and the attacks on the minorities in Bangladesh, isn't it stretching things too far?
Yes.
Or is he instigating the mob, the masses in Sambhal, to do to Muslims what unfortunately the Bangladesh people did to their minorities? He was acting in a very irresponsible way. On the contrary, at the ground level, all the Muslims and the Hindus, the community leaders and the local people with some influence, they were trying that peace should come about in the area, and there should be no further loss of life or livelihood. I do praise such efforts, but whenever anybody of any religion goes to court against something like Places of Worship Act,
Hmm.
we must understand that we have to draw a line.
Yes.
We are a civilized society, a democracy, arguably the largest democracy in the world, and we also claim that we are the most ancient democracy in the world, going back to the age of Mahajanpadas in the BC era. Are we really acting as a mature democracy when instead of tackling issues of development in the country, tackling issues of equality and fraternity, we are digging up the past for a fresh round of controversy? Today, some Hindu people are petitioning various civil sessions and district courts that a certain mosque was a temple at a certain time in ancient India or early medieval India,
Hmm.
be it in Varanasi or be it now in Sambal or Badayu or Ajmer and many other places as well.
Hmm.
And there's no end to it. There have also been allegations made against the historic Jama Masjid in Delhi and the Qutub Minar in Delhi and the Taj Mahal in Agra. Now, after that will come the next stage, as we saw in the Ayodhya dispute.
Hmm.
What is preventing the Buddhist people from staking claim to any Hindu temple or any mosque, saying this temple was built after demolishing a Buddhist vihara or a monastery, or this mosque stands at the place where a Buddhist vihara stood? So, will we keep demolishing every temple in the country? Will we keep demolishing every mosque in the country? Where will it all end? So it all has to end with the Places of Worship Act 1991. There will be Hindus who will feel aggrieved that a certain mosque stands at the place of a temple. There will be Muslims who will be aggrieved that a certain mosque was taken over by communal elements in 1947 and a temple was built, as in Haryana and Punjab. There will be Buddhists also who will say that a certain mosque or a certain temple stands at their place of worship.
Hmm.
But as law abiding citizens of the country, as people who believe in the letter and the spirit of our constitution, it's very important to draw a line. And that line was drawn by P.V. Narasimha Rao's government back in 1991 with the Places of Worship Act, and that act has to be held sacrosanct.
Hmm.
I understand there are challenges to the act pending with the Supreme Court. Notably, the government of India under Narendra Modi is yet to respond to the Supreme Court's notice
Hmm.
to clarify its stand on the Places of Worship Act. When the government of India has not had time for 4 years to respond to the act, you can understand that there are political motives even behind those petitions.
Taking up a follow on that last line, do you think that such disputes are strategically used for vote bank politics?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It has nothing to do with religion. It
Hmm.
has everything to do with politics. Let me tell you, whether you are Muslim or Hindu, there is no dearth of mosques or temples in our country.
Hmm.
India has probably the second highest number of mosques in South Asia.
Right.
And obviously, you would see that there is a temple in almost every cosmopolitan colony. And when you drive on the highway from Delhi towards Lucknow or towards Jaipur, you'll find a temple every few hundred meters. You'll find a mosque every couple of kilometers, 5 kilometers. So, where is the dearth of places of worship?
Hmm.
What is lacking is the spirit today. I have grown up in an India where I used to be in Delhi in Lajpat Nagar,
Hmm.
which is a refugee colony, and there used to be a mosque near Lajpat Nagar on the brink of Defense Colony in Delhi.
Hmm.
And I would see my Hindu brothers when they would go out for morning walk, they'll stop in front of the mosque for a few seconds, offer their respect,
Hmm.
bow slightly and offer their respect and then go on. Until recently, when I had seen so many people driving on the highway, they would see a dargah or a masjid on the roadside and they'll just slow down their car a little bit. And from their steering itself, they will bow their head and move on.
Hmm.
That is the kind of India we have grown up with. And
Absolutely.
I'm yet to see any Muslim who has had an objection to a temple having any arti or any worship at any time of the year. We
Hmm.
have grown up in an India where, first of all, the Muazzin will give the prayer call in the morning. After hearing his prayer call, the priest or the Pandit will open the temple and ring the temple bell. After that, the Gurdwara will start with its own part. That
Hmm.
is the kind of India we have to revive once more.
Right. Well said, sir.
Thank
Now,
you.
my next question to you is that Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently laid the foundation stone of Kalki Dham. Is there a deliberate connection or a message in the timing of this event amidst this controversy? Do you think that?
See, everything which a prime minister will do,
Hmm.
whenever it is related to any place of worship, it is constitutionally wrong.
Hmm.
Any head of the government, any minister, or even the president or the vice president is entitled to pray in his personal capacity. Okay, like we had President Kalam and we had Hamid Ansari Sahib as the vice president. We have President Murmu today,
Hmm.
and Narendra Modi Sahib is there as the prime minister. We had a Sikh prime minister, Manmohan Singh. So
Hmm.
everybody is entitled to go to a temple or a gurdwara or a mosque, and no objection can be laid. It's when a prime minister of India lays the foundation of a temple, then the politics comes into play.
Hmm.
And then one has every right to ask Is he the Prime Minister of all Indians? Or is he acting as a representative of a section of Indians only? When you build a, when you lay the foundation stone of a temple or a mosque or a gurdwara, you are not acting on behalf of all citizens of the country. You are acting on behalf of certain, and that has to be questioned. Whether he went to Kashi for the Kashi Vishwanath facelift which the government had given, or even the Prime Minister of India going to Ayodhya on August 5, 2020 for the Shilanyas was against the spirit of the law.
My next question to you is that Sambhal holds religious significance for both Hindus and Muslims. Can this shared heritage be leveraged as a tool for unity? Why do we struggle to separate politics from religion, and are we, as society, partially at fault?
Society is not largely at fault. It is
Hmm.
partly at fault, yes. And unfortunately, in recent years, it's the middle class
Yeah.
which has been keeping the communal pot boiling,
Hmm.
while the lower middle class and the poor people are struggling to put bread and butter for their children. The people who have some disposable income and who have reasonable businesses and jobs, they are the ones who are fomenting communal trouble in the country through the WhatsApp factory. And these are the people who should do some introspection
Hmm.
and understand that we live in a country where a Muslim director, K. Asif,
Hmm.
made a film on a Muslim emperor. But even that film, Mughal Azam, could not be completed without a Christian bhajan in the court of the Mughal emperor. We live in the country of Beju Bavra, where we had a timeless bhajan, Man Tarpat Hari Darshan Ko Aaj.
Hmm.
And that bhajan was sung by Muhammad Rafi.
Hmm.
Music was provided by Naushad, and it was written by Shakil Badayuni. That is the beauty of our country. And that is the beauty which you and I and everybody who believes in the idea of India has to uphold and hold dear to our heart.
Right, very well said, sir. So, my last question to you is that what lesson does history offer us? And how can we apply them to shape a better future? What responsibility do we as citizens bear to prevent such conflicts?
As citizens, we have just one very simple responsibility:
Right.
cross check. Whatever is presented before you by anybody,
Hmm.
don't take it as the last word or as the final fact. Always cross check. Particularly resist the temptation of forwarding WhatsApp messages and videos.
Hmm.
And if you have to ask questions of the government, not of the opposition. We remember how we all went to streets at the time of Dr. Manmohan Singh's government.
Hmm.
When we wanted clean administration, corruption-free government,
Hmm.
people went to the streets, protested. When there was that unfortunate gang rape of Damini in Delhi, thousands and thousands of people came out on the streets to protest. Today, we seem to have forgotten the art of a peaceful protest. We
Hmm.
seem to have forgotten that our questions have to be directed to the government, not to the opposition or anybody else. Any democracy thrives only when the government is held accountable,
Right.
not when the opposition is held accountable for the actions of the government.
Hmm. Very well said, sir. So,
Thank you.
your insight today have been invaluable, and thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts with us. We hope your
Thank you.
wisdom inspires our audience as much as it is enlightening us today. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.